Hello everybody, my name's Drew Demon and I'm the Devil's Stockbroker. This video I wanted to give everybody a quick update on my BIORA investment just because it's been often conflated with a short squeeze, and I wanted to clarify some of the investment thesis as well as give you an update on some of the news that's going on with the company. So let's go get started. So BIORA, for those that are not aware, this is a emerging growth company in the healthcare and biotech sector. BIORA is originally a diagnostics company that created a bunch of test kits. At first, they were creating a preeclampsia test, which was designed to detect early preeclampsia in pregnant mothers. Um, but they have transitioned over to becoming a biotherapeutics company focused on generating a new type of smart pill, an electronic pill that's able to deliver um, either drug payloads directly to the intestines and the soft tissues of the GI tract, or providing intravenous solutions to the GI tract, such as Humira, which is traditionally a medicine given to treat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis and other autoimmune disorders, but often requires a doctor's visit. With BIORA's new technology, that would no longer be necessary since somebody could just simply take a pill and they would be able to have their medicine administered at home. So BIORA IPO'd back in 2020 at roughly a price of around $15. Their prices ever since then basically just fallen off a cliff, and ever since roughly I'd say about April, they've been trading below $1, and their volume has basically been next to nothing ever since. They did have this spectacular squeeze that took place in all throughout September and November of 2021, which I was a part of and caught early and let everybody know, which partially brought some attention to this as a meme stock early on. But since it's sold off, it's become less of a squeeze play and more of a long-term investment. And I wanted to provide some of the knowledge and the thesis behind that so that people who get into BIORA aren't confused about what the investment thesis and what the timetable is for where you should set your expectations to receive returns on your investment. So as you can see, it's been a long time since BIORA had its magnificent squeeze from under $1 all the way up to $6 and some cents, over a 500% gain on the initial investment since early September of 2021. So we haven't seen these highs for quite a long period of time. And on the weekly chart, we've been trading below our 20-period moving average for quite a while. Luckily, on the daily chart, BIORA has been showing quite a bit of strength in recent weeks, and right at this moment, BIORA has begun to show some strength going into and slightly after their latest earnings report, where they announced that they had achieved great success with their latest study, showing that their smart pill, the OBDS delivery system, does not require fasting in order to successfully administer drugs. And because their technology targets very specific types of autoimmune and digestive disorders, it measured a lot of, shall we say, less than appetizing um, facts about the human bodily functions. So their earnings had a lot of references to things that I think that probably make some people feel a bit squeamish. But nevertheless, it was all really good information, very good data, and it revealed that their technology is going to be extremely successful in the future. They've already got several patents that have already been accepted, and the FDA is now going to entertain their studies for FDA approval for use of their technology with common drugs such as Humira, also known as adalimumab, which is the scientific term for the drug, as well as tofacitinib and profacitinib, which are two separate powderized forms of drug that are designed to treat ulcerative colitis in the colon. So in terms of the technicals, BIORA looks absolutely awful for the short term, just because BIORA it's been sold off so badly by Wall Street, and it's been getting shorted heavily right now. And for those that were paying attention to my tweets in the last couple of days, you might have seen me post a little urgent warning to people who are investing in AMC to turn off share lending. And in that tweet, the screenshot that I shared of my Fidelity lending program eligibility, it showed that the most in demand stocks were AMC and BIORA, oddly enough, and the interest rate that was being offered for the rate of return on lending was much higher on BIORA stock, over 6% returns for lending stock. Now, I'm not enrolled in that program, but the purpose of pointing that out is that BIORA is a very heavily shorted stock. It's shorted almost 20% of its free float right now. And in addition to that, the the stock has been being accumulated by a company that's known for, shall we say, playing both sides of the investment fence. This company called Ethereum Capital Management, has been involved in BIORA for a lengthy period of time. Okay, bringing up the Ortex data, I apologize. I'll correct myself here right away. The short interest is actually 11.3% estimated by Ortex. It was quite a bit higher, at around 16, almost 15%, early on in June. So it's been a long time since I've looked at the short interest. So I apologize for that little mistake there. But nevertheless, the short interest it's reasonably high on it's relatively high on BIORA, given its current position in the market. But the short interest really isn't what's important here. The more important factor of BIORA is where its balance sheet status currently is. So currently, BIORA's income statement has slowly been getting a little bit worse over a yearly time period, but on a quarterly basis, BIORA has issued two improving quarters with rapid improvement back to back. And Q1 and Q2 both show that BIORA rapidly reduced their spending and cash burn, such to the degree that their cash on hand will easily last them until the end of 2023, which is excellent for them because really to get through their FDA approval process only requires them to have about a year of actually going through that process. And they already have some partnerships established with companies such as Ionis and two other mystery partners that they haven't named, but we suspect might be Pfizer and AbbVie, the two pharma giants that are involved in the ulcerative colitis and um, Crohn's disease treatment. Both of them have highly successful and effective drugs that work on both of these diseases, with AbbVie having the most profitable form, Humira. So BIORA's financial situation has rapidly improved, where their balance sheet is showing that they're reducing their liabilities and they're slowly getting a improvement on their debt to asset ratio over time. So looking at their revenue history, you can see that they've been like barely pulling anything in, and this is mainly because BIORA has been working off of financing. This is part of the problem that they're currently facing, is that they're not a profitable company right now. They're the definition of a zombie company. Where BIORA has some hopeful future is that they've received enough financing and cash runway from investors to keep going until the end of next year, which will give them plenty of time to get their patents in order and secure additional funding going forward. BIORA does also have the option of further dilution, although I don't think that this is really necessary for them going forward. However, it is worth noting that they did receive their notice of delisting due to noncompliance. So that doesn't mean that their stock is going to delist right now, but it does mean that in 1 year they need to do something to make sure that they're trading above $1 for 10 consecutive trading days in order to avoid being delisted from the NASDAQ and moving to the OTC markets. Right now, I think that BIORA is in really good shape, and I don't think that there's really any risk of them delisting in the near future. And if they get back above $1 for 10 consecutive trading days in the near term, then that fear just immediately goes away. So BIORA is, for all intents and purposes, like it's not really a concern for me, the delisting. So I'm not really even paying that any attention right now. That's a next year problem, if it even is a problem by that time. I honestly think that we'll be trading above $1 here within the next month. So I don't expect it to be an issue in the near future anyway. As far as their statements go, the gross profit of the company is where they need to focus their attention, is getting a product that they can sell. One of the things that they did recently in order to get additional profit that they can also do with some of their other patents is they have a lot of intellectual property that is not necessarily applicable to their current product line that they're looking to make manufacturing and sales of their product. So some of their IP can be sold to bigger pharmaceutical companies for large lump sum cash injections that they can use to extend their cash runway. Again, I don't find this will be very necessary, but it's an option for BIORA in order to offset some of their cash situation. Reviewing the balance sheet, in terms of their total current assets, they have around 88 million as of last year, 48.5 million as of this past quarter. And like I said, their cash runway extends out to the end of next year due to the massive reduction of their cash burn. Most of that occurred within the last quarter. So you see that Q4 2021 they had 88.4 million, and they spent about 21 million of that in between that quarter and the next, and now they've reduced their cash burn further to about 18.5 million. So their cash burn is being reduced, and that was one of the big pieces of information that was given during their earnings call. So that was an excellent update from CEO Adi Mohanty that gives me a little bit more confidence that BIORA will not have a cash problem going forward, since now their main focus is getting their patents all granted, getting FDA approval, and uh, setting up their manufacturing, which is something that they've already been working on. If you actually look at their staffing careers and LinkedIn pages, you'll see that they've been posting jobs for manufacturing specialists and VPs that specialize in product delivery and sales. So all of they're doing their spin up now at this point where they are preparing to sell a product. And that is going to launch very quickly because as soon as they get to the point where they have their FDA approval in place, they don't even need to immediately sell a product. They just need to have the relationships set up ahead of time so that they are ready to sell a product and then write a contract that will give them an immediate cash payment in exchange for the promise of a product later on down the road. So BIORA is very, very, very close to finally turning its revenue situation around and immediately turning a revenue. And once they do start doing that, I'm pretty confident that BIORA will immediately become a profitable company, not like many of the other pharmaceutical companies that have been struggling to survive and struggling to get their product out there. There's an immediate need for BIORA's product, and they've already got partnerships set up with existing biopharmaceutical companies that are very well established in the industry that have a need for their technology and a demand for it. So this that demand will translate to cash payments and profit very quickly for BIORA, and that's what I'm most excited about. The two other scenarios that I understand are possible is that BIORA suddenly runs into an expense problem and they suddenly lose their cash. This could be like the form of a lawsuit or something like that. Um, at the moment, I'm not aware of any other issues. They did have one lawsuit in the past due to securities issues, and they ran into trouble with the SEC. That's been settled, so I don't think they'll make that mistake again. Um, the other issue that I see, which is not really so much an issue, it's just like not as bullish, would be for BIORA to receive a cash offer to buy out the company. I hope that this doesn't actually happen, or if it does, that BIORA rejects the offer, because honestly, I want to see this company run on its own rights and its own merits, because I think that this could be a big pharma giant later on down the road, and I'm hoping that BIORA will continue to sustain its own operations and be its own company long into the future. Because this is the type of company that I think can become the next Dexcom or Pfizer or Moderna and Johnson and Johnson many years forward, just based off of the technology they developed. It really is futuristic tech, and it's pretty cool what they've made. So I'll quickly wrap things up with the technicals here on BIORA, just so that we can know what to expect going off into the future. One of the things that I took notice of was that BIORA has now started to set up a diamond pattern, or at least the very beginnings of a diamond reversal pattern. So this is characterized by a very large sell-off in a stock's price. So the different trend lines that we see showing different various lines of resistance are part of what characterize the diamond pattern. You can see that it sets up like basically an inverted gemstone. Part of this is the look of a head and shoulders as well. So if you notice it on the chart, it looks a bit like there's a head and shoulders that's forming on the bottom of this very large sell-off that BIOR has created. The next move for it to make is to basically complete this head and shoulders. And ordinarily this would be bearish, but because it's set up this consistent floor here that it's been well established at for a significant period of time, what actually occurs is it gets another leg on it and it breaks out, bounces off of a previous resistance that's become support, and then carries off to the upside later on. So this pattern has been developing for the last 4 months or so, and it does take a long time to play out, but I'm actually pretty bullish on BIORA, and I'm going to wait out this price action to see what happens for the next couple of weeks. If BIORA does end up selling off, then I'll be looking to accumulate additional shares down here below the 70-cent level. So if I see it cross down into this area, I'll start accumulating more again and then wait for it to break out. In the short term, I'm going to just sit on the sidelines and see what happens. If BIORA actually starts to base and go sideways from here, then I'll just trade this trend and wait for BIORA to find some new support and then head off to the upside on its own without completing this diamond pattern. But these are two scenarios that I'm waiting for on BIORA. Obviously, there's always the possibility that it goes back in the opposite direction and goes against us. But I'm pretty confident that BIORA has got some bright days ahead of it. It's just going to take some time, and that's why I wanted to make this video, just to let everybody know, like, hey, it's okay that BIORA is not going to the moon today. Okay, this is going to be this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is one of those stocks that I invested in for the value that I see in the future of this company, not for, instant gratification. This is one of my classic investment strategies based on, traditional investing that turns you into a millionaire and builds wealth over time. And by buying thousands of shares now while I can, while the stock is cheap, and while I have the capital to risk on a stock that's this very young but promising emerging growth company, that could pay off big time later on, and this could be a retirement stock, and that's what I'm hoping that it truly becomes for me in the future. So if you're invested in BIORA and you've seen this sell-off, I don't want people to get discouraged, and I don't want people to bag hold if they'd rather trade something else either. It's not up to me to tell you what to do with your money, but if you want to know my opinion and you care about my opinion at all, then just know that I'm holding BIORA regardless of this volatility. I don't care what BIORA does in the short term. I don't even care if it goes up to $3 in the short term. Like if BIORA went to $3, I still wouldn't really give a damn. I'd still be holding the stock even if it rocketed past its 200 moving average. I plan to hold this stock for life. That's my plan. As long as it's trading in this area, I don't care what the price does. I'm going to be using my paycheck to keep accumulating more. That's the plan I have for this stock. So if you want to have a stock in your portfolio that's it's risky because it's young, it's uncertain, it's a brand new company, and they have a lot of risk on the table, but their technology is just so damn cool and has a great use case and a great future for it, then hopefully you see that value the way I do. And if so, then I'm sure that you wouldn't mind waiting 5 or 10 years to see that return on your investment. So that's going to be it for BIORA for today. I'll probably just kind of sit on the sidelines with this stock. So if people don't hear from me about this one for a while, please don't take that as a sign that I've sold. I'm never selling BIORA unless the company announces that they're just going away and they've been swallowed into a black hole and exited the universe. Unless something cataclysmic like that happens to BIORA, I'm not leaving. This is a stock I'm holding for life. That's my plan, and you don't ever have to doubt that plan. I don't care if it goes down to a penny. I'll use that to buy thousands more shares. I don't care. Just don't let any of the FUD bug you, and don't let anybody convince you that I've sold, because it's certainly not going to happen. All right, that's my promise to you all who have been holding on to BIORA with me. I don't see myself as a bag holder. I see myself as a value investor, and this is where I see major, major value. So thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video and you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider joining us at Hell's Trading Floor, where you can be a part of the conversation and find other value stocks like this, or join us on a few squeeze plays like we call out every single day. You can find us at patreon.com/thedevilsbroker or discord.gg/hell's trading floor. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow at the bell, where we will have a hell of a time in the markets.